What's up, YouTube? It's your man Mohi Cuts back in the mix, and today I will be showing y'all a mid taper. Now, I'm trying to get my camera to focus on his hair beforehand, but I mean you can see he has hair all over his head. You know what I'm saying? So the taper is gonna be a drastic, transformation for my boy. But yeah, so I'm starting off with my number 6 guard, and I'm just cleaning up the area. More of like a mental guideline, just so I know, to work up to that 6. And then I grab my number 3 guard and just clean up this area where my 0 to my 2 will fade in. And I just want to clear, I have my 3 open, and I'm not going too high. I'm not going all the way up to the corner on his edge, and I'm going right above his ear. I'm not going too high. So now I'm starting my 0 guideline with my instincts, and I put a little curve to it, nothing crazy, just so I have a little bit of just to create that curve effect on the whole taper itself. But yeah, so now my second guideline will be my 1 open, and this fade will be kind of tight because I have to fade into longer hair. So from my 0 to my 1 open, and then I'll go to my 2 closed. And I've shown this method in my previous videos also. So if y'all want to go back and check those out, but I don't think I've done a mid taper. Well, this is my definition of a mid taper. I know everybody has their own, styles and their definitions of mid tapers. But so now I'm cleaning up what was my 1 open to my 2 closed, and with my 1.5. And since the area is so compact, there wasn't too much work I had to do there with my 1.5. And now I come down with my 1 closed, and like I said, the area is so compact, I don't have to do too much lever movement. You see what I'm saying? So that was my 1, and now my half, I'm using it to clear up that very bottom guideline where I'll be fading in my 0 into my half. So yeah, I'm using my half, and I'm clearing up. I'm doing a lot of detail work right now. But so yeah, now I have my no guard, and I have it on the 3rd lever, or on the 3rd notch on my lever, and I work my way back down. And on tighter fades like this, I tend to go back and forth a lot with my, with no guard and my half. So see now I have my half guard, just to kind of clear up that final guideline. Just because it, like I said, guys, it's such a compact area, I'll be jumping back and forth with my 0 guard and my half guard. Or I'm sorry, my no guard open and my half guard. So now I'm coming in with my 3 closed, and barely working up on the bulk of the hair, right? And then I'll do my 4 closed, just to where, and I'll do this method just until I feel it's faded in enough to where I can just come in with my thinning shears and just clean up that last little area where it fades in. So see, now I have my 5 guard, and I'm barely working my way up, and now I'm using my T outliners to clean up his cheek a little bit, and to clean up where the 0 was, just so I can get my shaver, as you can see now, and just adding that last piece to the fade. So, and you see I'm pulling the ear back. Just make sure you don't nick the ear, you know what I'm saying? You don't want any blood on your hands, literally. But so see now, guys, I'm coming in with my thinning shears, and I'm just cleaning up that area, making it, adding these, these last touches to the bulk of the hair. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pulling the comb away from his head just to create that transitional effect. Nothing crazy, and I'm staying on the parietal ridge. So now I am doing his back taper, and I'll start this back taper since he has a lot of bulk on the back of his head. I'm opening it up with my 8 guard, and I spend a lot of time with this 8 guard to try to just keep it even. So, and you can see now I put this in fast motion, but just so I can, it doesn't take as much time, so I can explain it a little bit better. But yeah, I'm just using, I clean up all that back area with the number 8. Clean it all up and try to make it as even as possible, and I just work my way up to the occipital bone. And now I have my 7 guard to just clean it up just a little bit more, and I'll grab my 6 and I'll throw it on there too, just to work up to the occipital bone. But it's nothing crazy, it's just a cleanup process. Right now it's just a cleanup process, and I like to do that just to make my life easier. You know what I mean? I'm not starting to fade with a whole bunch of bulk in the back of his head, because that would take me forever to fade. But see, so now I have my 6 and still, working up to the occipital bone. If anything, I'm not going all the way up to it where I had my 8, but I'm right under it. So now I'll come in with my 3 open and clear up the area where I'm gonna do the taper. And my client here, he has really good hair, so you'll be able to see the transition very well. But so yeah, now I'm starting with my 0 guard, and like I said, I sped all this process up because I use the same steps as in the side taper. But the only difference is I do spread out the back taper a little bit more, just because his, obviously the back of his head is a lot longer than the side of it. So I came in with my 1. Now I'm coming with my 2 closed, and like I said, this is probably, maybe I'll say, a little bit longer than half an inch wide on his guidelines, which makes it a little bit easier when I'm coming in with my 1.5 as I'm doing now, and my, just when I clean up the guidelines, when I'm trying to lighten them up, it makes it a little bit easier because I have more area to play with. Now on the sides, since his hair, he wanted to keep his hair bulky, it's a little bit more tricky, and I have to use my corners a lot more because there's a lot less area to play with. See, so now I got my half guard, and I'm making that last little line. I'm lightening up that last line. That way I can come in with my no guard, just my blade, and come in and clean it up. And I'm using, on that final guideline, guys, make sure you use your corner. It's so essential to that last guideline. You don't want to dig in too much. So now I'm working my way back up. I did my back taper. I'm working my way back up just to fade where I did my taper into the longer part of his hair. See, so I did my 3 closed, then my 4 closed, now I have my 5 closed. And then clipper over comb is also essential, guys. It makes your life a lot easier. See, so right here I'm just trying to lighten up where the taper meets just the longer hair. Look. So now I'm doing the side taper, and same steps. That was my number 7, just to clean up the area a little bit. And it listen, guys, it's not taking off too much hair. The only thing is it's a mental thing for me. It's a guideline in itself for the parietal ridge, and then this 3 open that I have, I'm just coming in and cleaning up the area where I'm gonna do my taper. And it always comes out real nice when, so like this client, for example, he has really thick hair, dark hair. So once you do any type of fade, the transition always looks nice. And another thing, fellas, so on the vertical bars on his edge, I try to close in the gap a little bit with my guidelines, because his vertical bars are not that long. And you'll see when I start doing his taper that I want to be able to see his edge still. So I'm a real big advocate on, keeping the edge there so you can see it, so it really pops out. It makes a fade pop out. So you'll see that here. But that's also why I do the curve. That way I can preserve as much of the edge as possible. like I said, guys, I'm just playing with my lever, playing with my half, playing with my no guard open, just to lighten up the areas. I'm not trying to create a super defined line. And now I'm coming in and just fading the top of the hair. That's it. On the parietal ridge, just to keep that transition, that curve effect on the parietal ridge. And that shaver really does make the taper pop too. I didn't start using my shaver too much just because I was kind of scared of the line it would leave. But after I got used to it, man, that shaver makes a huge difference. So yeah, pull the ear and just follow the edge. Follow where his natural hairline is. And the only hair you're cutting off of his edge is just the baby hair, the new growth. You know what I mean? It's nothing. You don't want to recreate a line or anything like that, just because when the hair grows back, it's going to look ugly. Or in my opinion, there may be some clients that like it. I don't know, but the more natural you keep it, the better, I think. So you see, I'm pulling the ear back, and I'm just following the first line I created on the bottom where his taper is. And remember, guys, always pull the ear. Always pull the ear. You don't want to nick it. And as you go along, you'll start getting a lot more comfortable with holding your clippers and your trimmers. You'll get used to the vibrations that they have. And it'll just get a lot easier. So now I'm dampening his hair just to do the shear work. And he wants to keep it a little bit longer on top, so I won't be cutting too much on the top or on his back side, also the back area of his head. But oh, and when you're getting the hair wet, remember to kind of split the hair, that way it gets into the little crevices, because if you're just spraying hair on top of his head, when you comb it, it's gonna stay on top of his head, and it's just gonna drip down to his face or his shoulders or whatever. So make sure you comb in between and kind of get the hair in between the hair. That way you're getting it all wet, that way, and not just on top and trying to let the hair sink in, or the water, sink in. Like it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work, guys. So when I do start using shears, I always follow the very first guideline I make in the front of his head. So for example, if I cut half an inch from the front, I'll work my way back with that same half inch, and then I'll go in from the sides like I'm doing here, and cut the in-between spots that I missed when I was doing the front to back. That way when I go side to side, it's the same method, it's just, different area of the hair. So now his edge line, and remember, guys, I know this picture kind of looks a little blurry, but you can kind of get the point. And so I don't, like I said, you can still see white spots on his hairline from where the hair doesn't grow, but to me, guys, it looks a lot better when you're not creating a new guideline, when you're not, all that new growth. When it comes back, it's not gonna look great. So just try to keep it as natural as possible. So on his edges, I did have to kind of create my edge, but in the center of his hair, I didn't. So hence the reason why, he still has those little visible, parts in his head where he doesn't have any hair growth. So this is the final result, guys. I'm still working on having how to record the finished product. I still kind of struggle with that. And I did do a design on him, on his back taper, but I don't show it in this video. So yeah, guys, there it is. There's the finished product on my little homie. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment. Thank you guys for watching.